Welcome everybody to our web chat on establishing a mentor program. The learning from today's webcast, it will give you a quick overview on how to establish an early learning mentoring program within your service. You'll be informed about the importance of a mentoring program in a contemporary early childhood setting. It'll help you understand the requirements of a successful mentoring program and the process of a good mentoring program. So why bother with a mentoring program, might you ask? Well, there's two major influences in this space. The first one is that mentoring is a proven approach to drive rich learning and development for both the mentees and the mentors. And for employers, mentoring increases retention, attraction, and promotion rates, and employee satisfaction. This is all research done by various researchers on mentoring programs and how it has improved workplace efficiencies. So you're thinking of establishing a mentoring program. Lots to think about. Why do we want to do it? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What time is it going to take? Who's going to take responsibility? How is it going to work? Where do we get the knowledge from? There's lots and lots of things to consider when you want to establish a mentoring program. So the benefits of mentoring: it builds culture, it attracts and retains employees, and it builds skills of mentee and mentor. One of the biggest attractions that millennials who have been surveyed over the past years has been a mentoring program. Does the organisation have a mentoring program? Is something that millennials are wanting. So really consider that in your workplace. So there are some considerations as a business that you need to consider. How will it impact on the outcomes and the fit for business strategic direction that we have? What is the intent of the mentoring program? What is going to be my return on investment? And how will this be designed? Many mentor programs are set up fairly quickly. People take on board without doing a lot of research. There isn't a lot of planning to start with. It's started and then things are tried to fix on the way, and often things fall down in a heap. The fatal flaws that I've seen happen in many mentoring programs that I've supported and set up myself within early learning services have been insufficient lead time, no preparation, no thought, no unpacking, substandard training and ongoing support. Often the mentor receives training, but post that training, there's very, very little support for mentors, and there should be ongoing support, encouragement, and mentoring mentors. So it's really important to have a system set up that supports them. Inadequate support. So people aren't informed about the program. They're not informed about how they be able to release staff. There is a lack of support of ongoing support to educational leaders or centre directors because they get left out of the loop. So it's really important that there is a system in place that communicates to the leaders of services what's going on. There's also, I've seen a fatal flaw is a lack of engagement because it hasn't been promoted efficiently and effectively so that people are on board, people understand and want to be part of a mentoring program. The biggest flaw I've seen is under-resourced. Unfortunately, when you're doing a mentoring program, you need to actually have time away from the children to be able to discuss practice. This is an important element of every mentoring program and should just be part of an onboarding cost, part of an ongoing employee cost, or part of professional learning cost. Another fatal flaw is the fixed mindset about what mentoring is. People, a lot of organisations and people are setting up what they call coaching programs. And yes, coaching is an important element, but coaching is part of mentoring. And we will go over those differences between mentoring and coaching as part of this web chat. So what is mentoring versus coaching? There's often a misunderstanding of the difference between mentoring and coaching. Often definitions get role reversed, but it's really important to be clear about what mentoring and coaching is. And that's why training and ongoing support is so important for those who are mentoring. So let's take a look at coaching. So coaching is when another person supports the development of a technical skill to be able to improve practice. So it's technical skill. For example, being able to run and engaging group time is a technical skill. It's something that you develop over time. So a mentor can actually use coaching questions and coaching techniques to support the development of their mentee's skills. Really important that in the elements and the times when a mentor is coaching, they focus on skill development. It's short, it's quick, it sets goals, and it achieves those very quickly. So it's not long term, it's really honing in and focusing on a skill set. Whereas when you're looking at mentoring, mentoring is about a more experienced person supporting a less experienced person through a professional pathway. I often call this a guide by the side. That they support, they encourage, they advise, they talk about lessons learned, all sorts of things that will help and guide a less experienced person as they go through a certain part of their professional pathway. So let's just briefly summarize that. In a mentoring partnership, both mentoring and coaching skills are used. The key for the mentor is to know when to utilize their mentoring skills and when to utilize their coaching skills to improve practice. Often the question is asked, do we need a mentoring or do we need a coaching program? I always suggest in my advice is that you need a mentoring program and you combine the coaching in that space. The coaching doesn't always have to come from the mentor. The coach can come from a particular person, a champion who has a set skill. Just access to that person is really important. So let's just be clear. A mentor is an accomplished and experienced performer who takes an interest in helping to guide and develop an inexperienced person. They advise, they support their professional growth and their professional identity. A big key to mentoring, their professional identity. So mentoring is more long-term. It's about development driven. It's not just at a professional's current job function, but beyond that. And it looks very much at the holistic view of the employee. When we're talking about coaching, coach is someone with specific knowledge about a skill or ability the employee struggles to master. So coaching is when another person supports the technical skill of another to be able to improve that practice, and it is just short term. To be successful, when you're using a mentoring program, you need motivated, talented professionals to focus on their career development, to inspire individuals to see what is possible in their career. You need, when to use a mentor is when you need to enhance the professional leadership skills of another, or you want to transfer knowledge from one experienced person to a less experienced person. So when to use a coach is when you want to develop that raw talent to create a specific skill. When you want to help individuals who are not meeting expectations or goals that have been set, especially job expectations. Coaching is great for when you want to introduce a new procedure, somebody becomes proficient at it and they then become coaches of others. And to improve skill or behaviour in a short period of time. So when you're thinking about developing a program, really be clear that a mentoring program can't be everything to every part of your business. You need to have a focus. What is the focus of the mentoring program? Is it about onboarding? Is it about to support practice? Is it about building capability for future leaders? Really need to target in, because each of those has specific skills that are required to be able to do that. What's the target group? Is it leadership? Is it career pathway? Is it a beginning role in the organisation, or somebody beginning their career in early childhood? Really focus in the purpose. So when setting up a mentoring program, what is the purpose of that? Is it to attract an employee? If it's to attract an employee, then it's really important you have a mentoring program in that onboarding phase. If it's to retain employees, then you need to think about what could be established to support employees as they go through their stages of career development. Or is it to build capability? If it's to build capability, then that's about specific skill sets which they need to be able to do their job. Need to consider the model you're going to use. What's going to be the delivery model? Is it going to constitute face-to-face? Could it be group mentoring or coaching? Could it be one-to-one? Could it be shadowing someone? There's a whole load of models that you can use within the context of a mentoring program. And what are the resources that you're going to make available? The time, the cost, the training investment. What are you going to do in a business decision to ensure that this is successful? I just want to share an example with you, which I come across a lot when supporting organisations to do this. I have put in here a range of career steps, I suppose, if you're in a larger organisation. But if you're in a smaller organisation, you can still consider this, because there is the educator who can either go educational leader or assistant director into a centre director or a curriculum pedagogical space. So really have to think when you're setting up a mentoring program that there is a two-way pathway approach. Not everybody wants to be the CEO. Not everybody wants to be the senior manager or the area manager. It's really important that we, as part of a mentoring program, acknowledge the skill sets people have and the comfortable space that they're in. I often see really, really experienced people who could mentor best practice and they don't get utilised. For example, in a baby's room, a very experienced practitioner chugging along, doing her thing, loving her babies, and that's where she wants to stay. It's where she wants to spend her days. But her skill set isn't utilised to support newer people moving into a baby's room in other services, for example. So really think not only the vertical process of mentoring, where a lot of dollars are spent in organisations, but also think about the horizontal. So an educator becomes proficient at what they do, and then they become very experienced. They then become an experienced mentor and be utilised within the organisation for newer employees who may choose to only work in the nursery or the infants and toddlers. Very valuable space to be working. So really think about a two-way approach and a pathway. So when you're establishing a program, I talk about the 4 Ps. Plan and prepare. That's when you're establishing. Plan and prepare everything. Systems, processes, communication plans, marketing plans, how you're going to get people on board, all of those sorts of things. Then when you're implementing your promotion, your actual promotion, and how you recruit people, and then your program support. As the person goes through your mentoring program, what support's going to be given to them. And obviously, every time you do this, you should always have a review process in place. So there are phases of a mentoring partnership which needs to be very clearly defined when setting up your program. Firstly, the first part, when you have a mentor and you have a mentee, they are introduced as part of the program. That's when the mentor then takes over. And that's where they spend their time relationship building with their mentee. They build trust and they set expectations of what the organisation or service wants them to achieve. Then there is a bigger phase, which is called the growth stage. This is where they should see behaviour change, where you see lots of skill development and knowledge growth of the mentee. Then when they have gone through a process and the mentee has built their skill set, it comes to an ending phase. And this is where the relationship changes. And that needs to be very clear about when that relationship changes and how it moves into a more collegial approach. So the thoughts that you need to consider when you're setting up your own mentoring program is timing of the mentoring program, onboarding succession, how long, is there a start and end time? When people start it, when they're expected to finish it, will be 12 months, or it'll be 2 years. A process to seek a mentor with specific skill sets are really important. Accountability procedures and processes have to be in place. So confidentiality agreements, signing off aspects, when challenges arise, what is the process? Will the mentoring program be formal or informal? What will be the recording accountabilities? Then you have to think about recruitment. Who's going to be the mentor and coach? Who are going to be the champions and leads? Will it be a supervisor? Is it a senior practitioner? Is it a subject matter expert? If you're going to be establishing a mentoring program, part of leadership is mentoring coaching anyway. So if you are their upline manager, you should be doing these skills. But it's really important to enhance your employees is to have a mentor who is not the direct supervisor. And there are reasons for that. Unpacking practice, exposing the mentee to another person. The mentor in this case is very well trained and understands the process of being able to support the mentee. So, for example, if complaints come about their supervisor, there are other processes within the organisations in which that mentee can take. And it's really important that the mentor knows this and will acknowledge the issue and then direct the mentee into that area. So there's a whole load of systems in place that are really, really important to consider. Then obviously there's the training. What will be the mode of delivery for training? What will be the ongoing support? What qualifications do they have to have? What are the skills that they require? So really think about your team. Do you need coaching or mentoring? Is there a mix of both? If you need coaching, then it's quite specific skill set. It'll happen on the job and it'll happen organically. If you want to enhance your employment and skill up your employees, then I would recommend a mentoring program which has coaching skills built into it. How does this apply at all levels of the team? So if I'm a centre director and I want to be mentored to be an area manager, how will that apply? What will happen? How will that work? Who will be involved in the initial setup? And who will have accountability and responsibility for the program? So for further information on this, you can enrol in the Mentoring Early Childhood Self-Paced module on this site. Please feel free to join that. It's a really good self-paced module, and there's also downloadable books and resources that you can take away and use as you establish your mentoring program. If you need further support, you can contact Susie Wood at Ignite Early Learning Academy, and she'll offer some advice and be able to support your establishment of the program. Feel free to email ignitelearning@outlook.com.au. Thank you very much for today and your attendance in this web chat. I hope and encourage you to establish a mentoring program within your service.